Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on data architecture, data governance, and data warehouse automation. I'm your host, Anil Mahadev. I'm a principal solutions architect at IDERA for our database multi-platform tools, welcoming you to this webinar. So let's take a look at what we have for you today. Who are we? We are basically the leading data tools company here in the industry, and with a family of more than 20 plus product lines. We are super excited to be in this industry, and we can't wait to show you what we have to offer. So today we'll be focusing on the ER Studio product, integration with our WhereScape data warehouse automation, and also talking about data governance of how ER Studio will be would fit right in using Calibra as well. So let's take a look at some of the silos that people go through. If you look at some of the scenarios today, we're looking at data analysts, data architecture, and data governance. All of this combines different needs and wants. So here, if you look, the data analyst would like to look at data and produce meaningful results. The data architecture team would like to design and document data assets. And finally, we have the data governance team who would like to define the meaning and rules of the information of the organization. So this becomes a really, really important area where people are going through all of these different areas. So what is the mission? The mission is a well-governed data supply chain that we would love to go ahead and bring tools, people, automation together, and also build a business friendly storefront for your consumers to access it. Then to also go ahead and set aside some predefined data products and also have a really excellent structured governance framework. So let's take a look at this diagram here for just a moment, and let's try to better understand what the entire data fabric is all about. So if I were to go ahead and take a look at the data sources, here you can take a look at the application data sources, operational data from where it's coming from, then it's going into a data lake, then it's going into the data warehouse. Again, at every level, you'll see that we have the automation component, which is vital, and that's what makes a true data fabric story. Obviously, at the end of all of this, we have a solid foundation, which is based on an augmented data catalog that utilizes AI and machine learning, and also a business glossary and data dictionary, along with data lineage. And at the forefront is here the data store front and your data consumers. So from left to right, this is the journey that we're trying to go through with a solid data storefront foundation. Now, without this, none of these can go, and it's not going to help in any way. But with all of this being synchronized together and with the automation capability built into it, it reduces a bunch of those silos that we were talking about that the tools can help you with. Next, let's talk about a traditional data model. You have a logical data model that gets converted into a physical data model, and that in turn gets resided into the database or a flat file. Next, we'll take it to the next level where we have a data catalog, and that in turn will have a business glossary. And with that business glossary, further, we can tie those business terms to those physical data model and have them have meaningful relationships. The unified data catalog, it takes it to the next level where you can go ahead and have the logical data models and the physical data models both tied at the heart of the business glossary. And that will provide you a greater amount of flexibility. Next, we have the enterprise data model. So think of it like you're having a data dictionary and all the enterprise logical conceptual, and then you go into the enterprise logical. Finally, you go into the project model, and that in turn goes ahead and takes a look at the logical as well as the physical data model. That in turn is transformed into a database, and that here you can see we have a team server mapping that's being mapped to that sales database as your data asset. Next, we have our enterprise model that is supporting data governance. Now with the business glossary, here you can actually go ahead and take a look at where the business glossary ties into a variety of those enterprise conceptual, logical, project model, logical model, and physical. And finally, it goes to the data source. Now, this is the last part of the presentation where you can actually see the enterprise data model supporting the company's wide data ecosystem. Now, this is where all the magic happens, is when it starts off with the enterprise conceptual model at the very top, then diversifies into the logical and translates those by tying those business glossaries to those project models containing both the logical and physical, and finally converting them to those various application centric scenarios. So for example, it could be an application database from that model, and it could have a NoSQL, have a JSON, have a data warehouse using a data vault, as well as business intelligence. So in summary, we have a well-governed data supply here. Now let's take a look at how all of this is going to work. So let me just stop sharing for just a second, and then I'll be right back. What we can do now is then we can go ahead and we'll launch our data model solution here. Give me 1 second. So now here what I can do is I can actually go in here and bring one of our AdventureWorks data model. So here you can see I have my enterprise logical model. And from here, we can actually go ahead and work with this here itself. And here I can see I have all of these logical model and 2 physical data models. One's an OLTP system and one is a data warehouse. So now that I've established this and I've put it into the entire system, what I can do is I can go ahead and leverage this to my advantage by publishing this onto a web-based platform, and that is Team Server. So now that we have all of our data dictionary, our data assets, everything being set up here, we can then go into our area here, and then we can come into the Team Server. And with the Team Server, I can actually go and look at the ER tool section. I can first I can go ahead and publish it. And after I've published it, I can actually go in and view this. Here you can see I have the AdventureWorks diagram published. And I can navigate into the ER tool section and go into the project of that. So here we have our logical. And what's really interesting is that you can actually navigate to all of this here easily, and your business users can consume this, right? So that's where is the first line of business. So let's take this to the next level, and I'll search for a business term called party. And here you can see that in party, I can actually go into the types children, where we can have a nice mind map diagram of this, where I can choose where the organization is of type internal or external. And if it's external, it can be a charity, commercial entity, society, etc. Then I would go into the related section, and this is where you can see that the party exists at a particular address and is registered at that address and makes a contract here. Next, you have the related ER objects. Now, this is where it gets really awesome. You can actually see all the different data models that this particular business term is tied to. So that was what we were looking at. So let me just slide this over. There you go. And voila. So there you can see all of the options here. Next, what we can do is we can actually take it to the next level where we have configured Calibra. So here I can actually go into Calibra here. And in Calibra, I can actually showcase some of these data models here or some of the entities. So here I have a company-wide glossary. Click on that. You can see that it's under review. And what I can do here is I can look at the diagram. And here you can see I have the account. So here, if I just go and explore, I can look at all the other actions, whether if I want to approve this or anything like that. So I have all of that in place. Next, what I have is I can also go into one of the other models that I have here. So let me just go in here. So here, if I go under here, I can look at all of the data dictionary, physical data dictionary. I can click on this. If I'm looking at a SQL Server database, these are the tables. I want to take a look. And then if I want to look at more details, just click on it and look at the diagram. So we have a lot of these options here. Now, what's really important is that whenever you're implementing any kind of a governance initiative and then you're trying to build a data catalog, this is where all the action is. So you can literally just go ahead and filter based on the type that you're looking for. So this makes it really, really easy in order to get that. So that's one of the prime benefits of utilizing this kind of a framework where each of these tools are integrated with each other. Now let's take this to the next level. I'm going to go ahead and click on the AdventureWorks, and we're now going to go ahead and take this to the next level of the data warehouse automation. And what I have to do here is I actually have to go ahead and export this to WhereScape. And here I can choose on model selection. And here I can pick any one of the models that I'm interested in. Go ahead and choose export XML, say yes. So this is basically exporting all of those here into an XML file. It'll download here. So it'll just give you a nice little XML file there. So once I'm done with it, I can then open up WhereScape 3D. And here I've gone ahead and set up some connections here. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've set up a wide world importers database connection. And then under that, I've gone ahead and chosen what I would like. And under the physical data model, all I've done is I've gone ahead and I'm going to go ahead and just say add a version. And here what I'll do is I'll choose import from external format. Then here I'll just pick SQL Server. And now what I can do is I can display them. And there you go. So now I have my first level that I'm interested in. Can do that. Next, what I would like to do is to actually set up a data vault design. So what I can do is I can set up a new data vault design. So here I can just highlight this here, and I can choose anything I want. So now what I'll do is can go ahead and come into the data vault design and say new, add data vault design. And I'll just put it here. So now that I have my design, I would like to bring some of this here. So what I can do is just say display. Now what I can do is I can go ahead and drag and drop these tables here. Just do that here. There we go. Now what I can do is I can actually associate these attributes that I'm planning on building. So I'll just go ahead and choose all the defaults here. And voila, there you go. So now here you have the ability to check this out. Next, what we'll do is we'll actually generate a data vault from this. I'll just choose one of this here. I'll choose all the defaults here. So just imagine all of this doing by hand. It's done, it's doing everything for you. So that's another great way of looking at it. And now that I have this, I've transformed this into a truly ready to use data vault design. And now if you wanted to go ahead and export and create this, create and loading and staging tables for your data warehouse, you can obviously do that. So we're not going to be covering that here. So what you can do next is you can actually go ahead and generate a document model, and from there you can use it for any kind of documentation. So in short, this has been a very interactive webinar, and if you have any questions, this is what we're gonna talk about here in a few, is what comprises of a well-governed data supply chain. Data fabric, where automation of tools working together. A data mesh, the right people working together to provide the right products. And finally, you have the models that are traditional data models, standardizing and structuring data and data assets. And of course, building the data catalog to reduce risk. So our true success stories here are ER Studio and WhereScape data automation, which really redefines the way people build sophisticated data platforms and systems in place. And we're here to help. So if you have any questions, please head over to our website, IDERA.com, and check out both IDERA's ER Studio Data Architect, and also go ahead and check out WhereScape.com for knowing more details. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach us through our website on the Contact Us page, and you can register for a free trial, register for a demo, request for a demo. We have the ability to talk more about your use cases, and we're really excited about speaking with you all in the future. And we thank you for attending today's webinar, and have a great day.